Yo, welcome back to The Edge with your boy Micah Parsons, and it's a great week because it's game week. There's no more hide, there's no more ducking. Everyone's putting everything is going on the line. Everything you did this offseason is going to come to light, and it's about to go down, man. It's week one, Dallas Cowboys versus Cleveland Browns in Cleveland, dog pound. First time going out there. It's going to be very exciting. We got our boys back. Everyone's healthy. We about to get ready and go into this amazing 2024 season. I'm excited part of still being in the NFL. And let's just have a great year. It's a great year. It is game week. It's finally here, man. I can't be more excited. I hope everyone's just as excited as me. Like, this is about to go. I feel like this year we're about to go through the roof. I know everyone's excited. Camp's over. Camp's the worst part about football. And, yesterday, Coach McCarthy, he broke down our season, and we don't realize how short the season really is because it said we only had 13 more padded practices. So it lets you know how quick this time goes when you break it down like that. And it's like you have 52 practices left in the season. You're just like, wow, that's not a long period of time. So every day, how grateful you have to be, your intent, getting better just so we could get to where we want to go. It really just lets you know how detailed and, intentful and grateful you got to be every week to get to February, to get to that Super Bowl. So super excited. But let's get right into it. Headline, Brandon Aiyuk just got paid. Congratulations to Brandon Aiyuk. The 49ers have done it again. Somehow the 49ers retained everybody. They kept everyone. And then I think they just finished up Trent this morning. So, the 49ers, still one of the top teams in the NFC. It's going to be a great battle with them. The wide receiver starting. Now we just got to wonder when Ja'Marr Chase is going to get paid. I'll be super excited to see what he gets, where he goes. Does he go number one? Does he beat CD? Does he fall under CD? Because Ja'Marr Chase is one of them guys where he could be between those threes depending on how his GM look. I think Ja'Marr Chase has been one of the more consistent best receivers since he's been in the NFL. He has the capabilities and abilities to beat the Justin Jeffersons. And then, he's been just as consistent with CD being an all-pro, being a pro bowler, consistency since he's been in the NFL. So it's going to be very exciting to see. I just can't wait to see where he falls. And I won't be surprised if it's not finished by today or this week, because, they play this week. It's game week. The contract has to get done. He hasn't been playing. And it'll be very interesting to see if they actually hit the field without Ja'Marr Chase, because you need your number one receiver, and that's Ja'Marr Chase. Yes, they still have T. Higgins, and T. Higgins will get paid after this year. But, Ja'Marr Chase has been their number one guy and consistently over the last couple of years. So it'll be very interesting to see. And in speaking of contracts and where people are going, I seen Justin Jefferson and Anthony Edwards just recreating the most iconic photo ever. And that's dope, because you think about, I would think it would be dope if multiple teams and cities did things like this. Like, if you think in Dallas in their time when they had Emmett and Dion, whether they could have did it with a Jason Kidd or, a Dirk or, early 2000s. Those was iconic times that, people could have took photos like this. But that Randy Moss was kind of just so insane to me. I think Randy Moss is is probably one of my favorite receivers of all time. I think he is the GOAT. His speed, him and Calvin Johnson is the most freakish best receivers ever. And to be compared with Anthony Edwards or, something like that would be pretty insane to me. But, Ant, man, I think he's one of the only basketball players that could play in the NFL. Anthony Edwards has that athletic ability, that jumping ability. He actually seen a couple of his football highlights. He was if you watch a little bit of his story, he was actually a football player who turned to basketball. Ant was actually pretty decent. I don't want to, it was high school football, and I know high school football don't go a long way, but Ant looked cold. He looked like he was a legit player. I think Ant is one of them guys that you can convert into an NFL football player if he chose to go that route. He's a little bit big. Ant could easily be a DB, not a DB. No, not a DB, but a bigger receiver, running back, maybe a linebacker role for sure. I stood next to him. He's a little bit taller than me. He's just about as Aki. Now, I don't know how much strength that really is, because obviously, football strength and basketball strength a little bit differently, but I mean, he's serious. And then, obviously, if we talked about football players playing in the NBA, I think I could potentially be an NBA player. Now, I'm not saying I'm a potential NBA superstar. There's levels to the game. I don't think I'm a superstar, but, I think I could definitely be a minimum contracted player off the bench, hustle, rebounds, defense, things like that. And then, what I'm saying, when my open three's there, have my opportunity to knock it down for sure. Something that I saw that was so crazy to me was Joey over this past weekend, Joey Chestnut ate 83 hot dogs. I mean, that is just so absurd. I mean, 83 hot dogs in 10 minutes. Like, if we had a Cowboys team, right? A Cowboys dream team, and we had 10 minutes of 5 people, I don't know if we can still consume 83 hot dogs. Like, that is, like, if I had to put a team, and I'm not going to be on this team. Well, if there was a team of guys where I think that can compete to maybe beat Joey Chestnut, I'm definitely going Zeke. I think Zeke will be a great winner, contributor to the team. I'm going to go Tyler Smith. I'm going to go Tyler Guyton for sure. I'm going to say we got to put Coach McCarthy on there. Coach McCarthy definitely helped lead that team. Mindset, capabilities, things like that. And then my last person, we might as well go big old Zach Martin. I think Zach could definitely put the team on his back for at least 20 glizzies for sure. I think that would be my dream. I think that would have to be our starting 5. Who's my most underrated players at each position in this league? Because over the past week, they talked about Josh Allen was like the biggest trash talker, and Brock Purdy and Matthew Stafford was tied for the most underrated QB. And yeah, I would say Matthew Stafford definitely doesn't get his light. I think because of his time in Detroit. But he's also Super Bowl champion. I think his career is definitely super underrated. They don't ever put him in a category where he's different. I think he's easily a top 10 quarterback, top 5, depending on what you're looking for, what attributes. And just being around him over the past 3-4 years, competing against him, he's definitely one of the more complicated guys to go through with no-look passes. He's been doing that. His ability to read defenses, I mean, Matthew Stafford really does it all. Of course, Brock, I mean, being able to go to the Super Bowl, the NFC Championship in his first 2 years in the NFL, I mean, that's tough to do. There's quarterbacks that haven't even achieved that, and he's achieved that. I mean, it goes to show his levels and depth that he has to be able to get there. I mean, it shows you how talented he really is. And I think at receiver, and when I say these guys are, and when you mention these quarterbacks, right, and you're talking about underrated, I'm thinking underrated, underappreciated, because I think these guys are top 10 quarterbacks, right? And I'm thinking of receivers that maybe underrated or underappreciated because of guys on our team or surround them. And when I think of guys like that, I think Devontae Smith, a guy that may not get all the targets but could be a number 1 on any team in the NFL, but he just so happens to have a top 5 receiver next to him, that's getting just as many looks or more targets, more packages schemed up to get him the ball. Jalen Waddle, opposite side of Tyreek Hill, underappreciated, a little bit underrated, but has the capabilities to be a number 1 guy if he wasn't there. Mike Evans don't get talked about enough since Brady left. I mean, this guy had over 10,000 receiving yards in his career. He's had over 1,000 receiving yards since he's been in the NFL. I mean, this guy's been night and day, but you don't put him up there when you talk about top 5, top 10 receivers. And it's tough when we got this idea of who our guys and new guys come in, and you got Tyreek Hill going for 1,800 yards, CeeDee Lamb going for 1,700 yards, and you got the Aiyuks, and you got all these young guys getting paid, and you're like, oh, they're top 5 because of this, and they're top 5 because of that. And you kind of remember the history of Mike Evans, and you got to remember there's a guy opposite of A.J. Brown, a guy opposite of, Tyreek Hill that's putting up 1,000 yards. And I think those kind of guys go fly under the radar a little bit. And then we look at defensive line. I think of guys like Alex Highsmith. Alex Highsmith had I don't know the exact number, but between 12 to 15 sacks over the course of the last 2 years, 2 or 3 years, really. And then you look at who's across from him. Of course, TJ Watt, who's been averaging 15 to 22 sacks over the last 2, 3 years. So, these guys, and then you look at Leonard Floyd. I think he goes a little bit unappreciated. And I think a guy like DeForest Buckner goes a little bit underrated, flies under the radar because of like guys like Jeffrey Simmons, Chris Jones. And I think DeForest Buckner is a top 5. It's just guys that you don't really hear about. Maybe it's because of their market, people not putting them out there. But I think people underrate them a little bit. Even Max Crosby before last year, people just kind of let him fly under the radar. But Max Crosby's been the most dominant. And you kind of see this across the league. We got to do a better job of putting these guys out there. I think we kind of stick to the same people, but there's guys that's been climbing up the ranks that's been really earning their stripes. I mean, Josh Allen for the Jaguars, of course, he got a big payday, but he was going, under the cards for a little bit. So we just got to do a better job. And you kind of look at running backs. I mean, guys like Raheem Mostert, look at the year he was I just drafted him to my fantasy team. You know what I'm saying? Raheem Mostert, his ability to, carry the rock and what he accomplished last year was truly great. James Cook for Buffalo Bills, he had a great year. He even had a great game against us. So, I think guys are consistently flying under the radar. We got to do a better job of keep giving these guys platforms, keep putting them out there because they absolutely deserve it. They've been dominating this league, and this league is so hard to be really good at it. So, it's tough. And it leads to the next point of where we're going to go in this year of these guys and where they at and the teams they on, because it's going to be tough, right? There's so much time in the NFL, and there's so much going on. Guys getting signed to teams, guys got traded. Think about Burns going to New York. So it's like all these new players going to be fresh faces on new teams. You look at 49ers, they weren't able to keep Eric Armstead. You know what I'm saying? And now he's with Jacksonville with Josh Allen. I mean, this year is about to be so crazy, and it's going to cause some division shifts, guys. It's going to be tough for guys to repeat as division champs. It's going to be tough because I think everyone got better this year. Everyone got really better this year, and I think if I had to pick my division winners, because last week we talked about what was the toughest conference? We gave our top 5 conferences. Now it's time to talk about who's going to win these conferences, right? And I think in the AFC East, where we got Bills, Jets, Dolphins, and Patriots, I would say, I want to say the Dolphins. Dolphins are a team that kind of been consistently getting better. Tua consistently getting better. I think if Tua makes that jump, it's going to be great. I think the Bills lost a lot. They're kind of like in that rebuild mode. But if Josh Allen can put the team on his back, they lost a lot on defense. They lost, Diggs on offense. They drafted Keon Coleman. But it's kind of be interesting, can they replace that veteran leadership that they had? That winning culture, get things back on track. I'm not taking anything away from the Bills, but, they did lose a lot. And then, obviously, they got the Jets, right? Aaron Rodgers is back. I want to say the Dolphins right now, but if Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy, stay on the field, we see throughout training camp practices that the sky's the limits for the Jets. And, I'm never trying to go against Aaron Rodgers, but we got to see a year of what that looks like with all of them on the field. But I think the Dolphins have been consistent, just getting better. When we think of the AFC North, I mean, this is tough because I think, we talk about this is the hardest division in football. And it's really a toss-up for, whoever, This is super tough. But it's like you have to go, you want to say the Bengals could really come out of this division, right? They got the passing attack with Ja'Marr Chase, T. Higgins. I mean, they're super dynamic. They drafted a young receiver, Burton. And, you got a healthy Joe Burrow back, right? Like, can we all put it together finally? But then you could say if Deshaun Watson returns to, form, right? And you say Deshaun Watson gets back in rhythm, he gets going, he helps his lean. The Browns are stacked, man. If Deshaun Watson can stay healthy and do what he does best, and that's play dominant football, the Browns are like right there, And then obviously you got the reigning MVP of Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. It's like, can they put it together, man? Like, who's going to come out of that trio? Because the Steelers are right there. They always give them good games. The Steelers are constantly upsetting these guys. And you just kind of say the Steelers kind of been struggling with QB play, but they got Russell Wilson and Justin Fields this year. This is going to be interesting, but I'm going to say, man, I'm going to still stick with the Ravens just because of the consistency of the Ravens. Harbaugh, their defense has consistently been the best. I mean, the Ravens, they just been so consistent. It's hard to go away from them. I know the Bengals dealt with injuries. It's super tough. It's super tough. And then the Browns, obviously Deshaun Watson dealt with injuries, but it's like, can these guys stay on the field, right? Lamar's been able to stay on the field, and they've been able to win games. So I'm going to just go with consistency in this division, but you really can't go wrong with either team. And then you go to AFC South, right? I'm going to give this one to either, I'm going to say the Texans, man. They put together one of the most amazing off seasons that I've seen in a long time. They was able to keep Nico Collins. They got Tank Dell back and healthy. They went and got Stephon Diggs. They went and got Joe Mixon to help with their run game. I mean, they just look the most efficient team, and they just look like a great team so far. The Jaguars, they make jumps where I think they could kind of push it, but, it's going to be tough. I think Anthony for the Colts, they're good, but he has to stay healthy. We haven't seen him for a full season. So basically this is rookie year all over again. Obviously the Titans are still building up their roster and things like that. But I think the Texans, what CJ Stroud showed last year, this is going to be one of the toughest teams to beat in the AFC. AFC West with Chiefs, Raiders, Broncos, and Chargers. Sorry, but we got to go with our MVP, our Super Bowl champ, Patrick Mahomes. What he's been able to do with the number one seed, his consistency of being the best and having Andy Reid and, being that dynamic over the course of the last couple of years. We just got to keep it with the Chiefs for sure. Even though the Raiders is getting better, I just don't think they have the QB play to keep up with Patrick Mahomes. The Broncos, we have to see more out of Bo Nix, who's now the starting QB. And then the Chargers, once again, I think the QB level is right there with Patrick Mahomes and with Justin Herbert, but it's like the healthy. Can he stay healthy? Can he do this? So, obviously I want Justin Herbert to stay better. The NFL is better with Justin Herbert on the field. I think he's the one has literally the best arm talent in the NFL, but it's just like, can they all put it together? But I think the Chiefs right now, I was bank on them to win the AFC West. And then the NFC North, this is where things get a little bit exciting because you say, okay, now we got a revamped Bears team who just got everyone under the sun, who also had a great offseason. You got the Lions, who just went to the NFC Championship last year. And then you got the Packers, who got Jordan Love, who could have beat the 49ers in the divisional round. And then you got the Vikings, where they could potentially be. And this is a tough one because I'm going to say the Lions or Packers, and it's strictly off experience of Jared Goff and Jordan Love. Obviously, Jordan Love only has 1 year at his belt, but the progression he had in his first year, and then you say Jordan Love's going to a second year with more film, more time, more comfortability. I'm going to go Packers, man. I think the Packers defense and with Jordan Love and his experience is just going to go through the roof. I know the Lions and Packers usually split a little bit, but I think right now, between the Packers and Lions, I think Jordan Love is I think his quarterback play could potentially beat Jared Goff. I think he just makes that jump, and it makes the most sense. With Bears coming in third for me, I think Vikings are a little bit shaky just because of their young rookie is out with that meniscus tear. But for me right now, I would just have to keep it with the Packers, even though the Lions are really good. The Packers just make the most sense for me. NFC South, the Buccaneers are going to win the NFC South. I'm gonna say Buccaneers, and that's because I think Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin has been another underrated receiver. Has been very consistent since he's been in this league. But I think Baker Mayfield had a turn. They won their first round. They beat the Eagles in the first round playoffs last year. They turned it around. It'd just be very interesting to see what the Falcons do now that they have QB play of Kirk Cousins and they have the young rising star of Michael Penix Jr. You just want to see them put it together. Can Drake London, the tandem of Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, can all those guys put it together to put this on tape? And then obviously the Saints are still right there. The Saints defense has never been lacking. I think they could potentially be them. I know they got that why not us standard and who they always been, but it's going to be very interesting to see because of the better QB play between the Buccaneers and the Falcons. NFC West, we're going to go between the Cardinals, Rams, 49ers. I'm going to just have to edge the 49ers, man. They kept their whole roster pretty much. That offense is looking so dynamic. Once again, it's going to be very challenging to stop. The Rams with McVay, you never really want to go against them. And obviously Geno, and never a doubt. So, but I think when it just compares the teams and who the 49ers have and their years of being together, it's just you just can't go against the 49ers in that division. And obviously Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders, and Giants, even though how well Malik Neighbors looked this year, and you want to see that big jump with Daniel Jones and Dan Quinn's first year with the Commanders, once again, it's going to come down to Cowboys, Eagles. And, obviously I'm going to edge the Cowboys over the Eagles every day of the week because I just feel like we're the best in the world, and we won last year, and we got a great opportunity this year to repeat as champions. So there is no wrong answer. There is no wrong answer. Some of these is very challenging, man. At the end of the day, football happens. Injuries happen. But at the end of the day, I think these teams are going to win their division. Let's get into a little bit of college football. Obviously, my Penn State Lions won their game. Drew Allard looked pretty amazing. Obviously, I love the way my guy Abdul Carter looked. And Kevin Winston Jr. That defense looked amazing. A lot of turnovers, big stops. I think Penn State, we go into the Big Ten Championship. Obviously, college football playoffs is in hindsight, but let's keep stacking it 1 week at a time. 1 week at a time, baby. That's all we need. 1 week at a time. Abdul, keep making plays. You're going to be that top 5 draft pick that we talked about. I seen how hard you worked. You was working out with me. Let's just keep going, man. And then obviously people talking a lot about Colorado. I think Colorado is the justification of having 2 great, amazing All-Stars with Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. I think anytime you got All-Stars like that, it's exciting, man. I think Travis Hunter had one of the best games I've seen in a long time. And to be able to play both ways, he's the most dynamic college football player we might have ever seen come through college football. I think he has a great chance for the Heisman. I think he should be, a unanimous All-American. And, obviously their team, it can't just be them. They got to do it against all teams. They went against the FCS school, and it was more of a game than we were all like. I want to see more of a jump from Colorado, but they are looking very good. And then, back to the Packers, Jordan Love, he kind of came onto the show without me, and he put together his unstoppable play. And, honestly, and with the team he has, it was very tough to stop. And I had to really think about it because, this play is tough, but I think I have a team and play to stop him.
That would be unstoppable against NFL defenses.
Whew.
Obviously, I'm a quarterback. That's a given. Here's my play right here. This is an empty set. I'm a quarterback. I like being an empty. I'm going to say right here, my F, we're going to put Devontae Adams. He's going to be running a choice route. Devontae, one of the best I've ever seen a choice route, so I'm going to put him on there. Or Y, I'm going to say Travis Kelce. He'll be on a through route or a basic, whatever we want to decide. I think a through route, get him over the top, kind of clear the defense out, get behind the linebackers. My Z, who do I want to put there? I'm going to put Tyreek Hill as Z right there because obviously, as you guys know, he's one of the fastest in the game. So he's going to be running a little slot fade right there. I hope they don't play press man because the ball's going there. H, we got to run it back out wide. little hitch route, show some love to my guy Josh Jacobs. We're gonna put him out there. If I throw it to him, he might get a touchdown, hopefully. X, we're gonna put we're gonna put Romeo Dobbs out there. Just because, I mean, that's one of my favorite fade targets. Whenever I throw it up to him, he is gonna come down with the ball. I know that 100%. So this is my play. I mean, we can run it backed up, middle of the field, red zone. I mean, I think there's touchdowns all over the place. Devontae Adams choice route, Romeo Dobbs on a little fade, Travis Kelce on a through route across the middle, Tyreek Hill on a little slot fade, Josh Jacobs on a hitch out there. So that's my play right there. Unstoppable.
Well, listen, that play, I really had to think about it for a long time. And that play does look very dynamic. But if I had to make my play right now, and I had my team to do this, we're definitely going to be in either not a dime or nickel set, right? So instantly, the first thing I'm thinking, especially with the slot faded Tyreek, we have to be in a type of two shell. Anytime Tyreek's on the field, he's getting a two shell. We're either going to roll to him. If he was out wide, it's kind of easy to control him because you could roll the coverage to him. But because he is in the slot, it creates a challenge, right? So we got to think, where could he get the most help and what coverage could he get the most help without it being such a gap, and we could get more hands on to those players. Some people would say cover 2, but I wouldn't go cover 2 against this because you got Travis Kelce in the middle, and he can kind of just sit down, right? If he sees the safety across the top and there's too much space, especially with the other safety, expanding with Tyreek in the slot fade, it can kind of create, a big gap for a guy like Travis Kelce. And obviously, he's great at, beating coverages, finding the gaps in coverages and things like that. So me personally, I would think this play, a play that could really stop this, is more of a match forward, right? You could call it, everyone calls it differently, but personally, this is cover 4, right? So we're gonna have quarters from the C, right? We're gonna have quarters, quarter coverages, right, with our corners, and then up top, we're gonna have our safeties, right? And they're gonna, and because of the 3x3 set, right, of the empty set and Tyreek over there, we're gonna have our nickel to the strength, and then someone I would use probably would be great is a guy like Fred Warner, right, especially at that 3, and Travis Kelce right there. So we put our Mike right there, our dime right there, and obviously we're gonna have our thing, but we're gonna be in a cover 4 set, right? And with this slot fade, he's gonna be able to get hands on Tyreek to be able to slow him down. Instantly, with him getting hands on Tyreek, he's not going to be able to run at full speed. So then, guess what? Our safety's going to be over top of him to be able to go with the slot fade. Obviously, the corner, he'll keep going with him, but the corner's going to, obviously, he has to play in the middle, especially with Josh Jacobs sitting right there. And then with Travis Kelce getting that thing, the Mike has to get Travis Kelce over the top, right? And then guess who's going to be right there with him, waiting for him to get over the top, and that's going to be our opposite safety, which is going to be extremely important. That safety is going to be able to match Travis Kelce and stay underneath, and that's why it's important that we play the match forward, because our dime has to play outside coverage, right? The dime, you're going to usually either, if he goes vertical, you get him over the top and you melt. He's going to play outside leverage, so he shouldn't get hurt by the option route too much. Play outside leverage, force him back into your Mike linebacker, and our backside corner just has to be a lockdown. I think the best, if you got to play any defense to Jordan Love, this would have to be a match 4 situation. Obviously, everyone has to be tight coverage, but this is going to be our best bet because you can't run 2. You don't want to run a man. You can't leave these type of guys single high, and you want a little bit of shallow coverage underneath, obviously with the option route and eliminating that, speed with Tyreek with the nickel and things like that. So I think, we have a great chance of stopping this, especially because the corner really can get out because the nickel will probably drive down on a China when the running back drops like that. When he gets hands on, he melts 10 yards, and he notices that, his 1 stayed under. That means you got a China right there, and the nickel probably drive that to the flat right there, and his corner can keep helping with Tyreek and the wide fade. So this will be our best chance at stopping Jordan Love's unstoppable play. And now if you use players, if I had to pick up a lineup to say what players is going to do this, I think my corners got to be Trayvon Diggs. I'm going Pat Surtain. My safeties, man, honestly, if we had to do this and game was on the line and this was a 4th down play, Kyle Hamilton's going to be my dime. I'm gonna probably use Jesse Bates as, my strong safety and my free safety. I'm going Antoine Winfield. And obviously my Mike linebacker would have to be Fred Warner. You kind of seen their matchup in the Super Bowl, back and forth, but Fred had some great plays. Obviously Trev's gonna have some great plays, but man, this right here, this match 4 will stop him any day of the week. I think at least it will split 50-50, if not more. But I think this would be the best coverage for them. But anyway, it's time. It's week 1. It's going to be an exciting week. It's going to be a lot of great games. NFL is back. It's going to be super exciting. I know there was a lot of controversy with the NFL playing Brazil. But honestly, if I had to play anywhere, I would say I want to either play in like Ghana or Africa. I think like somewhere in Africa, really, but I think Ghana is like real beautiful over there. Cause I don't know. I just think they would appreciate it, man. Like if the NFL went all the way to Africa, and I just think it would be exciting. I think the people will come out and show a lot of love, and it'll be super exciting. So I would say I would want to play in Africa, man. I think Africa will be an exciting place to play in. And then, I would say my pregame routine for me, I don't really like to warm up, right? I don't like to hit the field and like break into a crazy sweat. I think for me, it's like I need to get my mental side like totally things. So to me, like I'm watching all inspirational videos. I'm just in the locker room, like maybe I'll like lay down and have like Normatec boots on to like let my blood flow, like reset my blood flow. I just want to feel like loose, like relaxed. Like I don't want to waste any energy. I'm constantly getting stretched. I get stretched out by, our training staff. And, I just want to feel super relaxed. Like I don't want to get into any much. I would say from my rookie year to now, how have my nerves changed? I would say for me, my nerves changed just like I just feel way more confident. Versus my rookie year, I was coming out like a little bit nervous because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how they were going to attack me. At this point in my career, I kind of know how teams are looking at me, what they feel like my weaknesses are. And you always got to, study yourself, like how teams want to beat me. So I kind of know how teams are going to try to approach me and attack me. So, I just feel like way more confident in my abilities and feel like I know what I have to do to be great. What's it like opening season on the road? Obviously it's tough, right? You're going into another fan base. They're going to be the most excited. It's going to be super loud. But you just got to just stay in the moment, stay composed, understand there's going to be great plays. There's going to be bad plays. But at the end of the day, you're just playing football. You're just playing football. Move on. It happens. You're going to get beat sometimes. You're going to mess up. That's what the game happens when you're playing at a high level. It happens. So it's going to be exciting. Obviously, the Browns look extremely great. Deshaun Watson's healthy. They got the reigning defensive player of the year, Myles Garrett. They still got Zadarius Smith. They got one of the best DB cores of Denzel Ward, Martin Emerson, Greg Newsome. Safeties are great too with Delpit. I mean, our offense got our hands full with, one of the best defenses in the league, and offensively, we're praying that Chubb gets better. Obviously, that horrific injury he had last year. You don't want to see that for no one. But obviously, I'm going against my old teammate, Mark Cooper, who's like a big brother to me. I'm super excited to get out there. I'm excited to just break off this off-season, cold shoulder and get right into football. Let's take some final questions from the chat. Are there any rookies you're excited for? Honestly, I'm excited to watch and see Malik Neighbors. Just seeing his training camp footage, man, he looks like a super exciting player. I think he might have that Ja'Marr Chase, that Justin Jefferson impact, where he just comes in and dominates football. It just looked like football so easy for him. So I'll be super excited to watch him. And when I'm on the road, who do I sit next to on the plane? Honestly, they got me in the back of the plane. I got a whole row to myself, so I just be back there with my pillow and blanket, mobbing. But once again, it's week 1. Super excited. Cowboys Nation, come out to Cleveland We need to show up. We need to come up and show out this Sunday. It's going to go down. Week 1 of the season start off. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to The Edge with your boy, Micah Parsons, and I'll see you guys next week.